Hey everybody, Farmer Liz here, and I'm at the Kenai Historical Cabin Park. Michael is the docent here and knows all about the history and the architecture of all of these wonderful cabins that are from around the Kenai area. So, Michael, tell me some of the cool things about these cabins.
Well, I guess some of the cool things about these cabins, the coolest things would be they're from this area, unlike other museums or displays of history, where antiques are brought in from all around the state or the country. These are from this general vicinity, often within less than a mile from where you see them today. It's pretty neat that a lot of the cabin's history is so recent, and when we don't know something about the history, we can talk to somebody who may have perhaps lived in the cabin themselves or their ancestors. I often use the example of, like, let's say the Civil War, because I've had to write papers on wars and battles in history, and it's very difficult to find a primary source. And at this park, we have the ultimate primary source. I can tell you about a cabin and the people who lived there and what happened in the cabin, and I get all my information from the very person who lived there and lived in this period in this era and can tell me the history, um, straight up. One thing that got me interested in the recent history of this park was a video that I saw of a Confederate soldier being interviewed in 1932, and it was just amazing to hear his perspective and hear his voice, hear his language, a real primary source on video and audio, and um, so that's why I do a lot of recording of the folks who are still around in this area, to get their history documented and archived. It's unique because we have 5 cabins here, and obviously all of these cabins were homes, so we can tell the story about the lives and lifestyle of the people who lived here. Again, with primary sources being a huge factor in support. This park represents what Kenai was like prior to statehood. It's an Alaska display, but for the most part, this is what Kenai looked like during the period before statehood, as I mentioned before.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. We're going to go take a look around at some of the wonderful architecture and the buildings, and we're even going to draw a scale replica of one of the floor plans for one of the buildings. So, for your project this week, we're going to be doing a drawing of a floor plan of a building. Now, you can pick whatever building you want. Because we're here at the Kenai Historical Cabin Park, I'm going to do the Arness cabin because it's got a nice shape and it's pretty square and pretty even. And I think I'm going to do my scale of 1 inch equals 1 foot. So let's go in and look at the inside of the cabin. Okay, so here we are in front of the cabin that I'm going to draw. Let's go in so I can get a good floor plan. So here we have our front door. In we go. And we've got the counter to our left, followed by that stairwell. And look, we got all the way up to the second story. So I'm going to have to remember to put a second story on my drawing. We've got 1, 2, 3 windows. So I'm going to have to remember to put my windows in on the opposite walls and make sure that they don't quite line up with the door because my windows don't quite line up. But it's pretty darn square. And I should probably also remember to put my wood stove in there too, because I've got to make sure that my cabin and my floor plan has a heat source. All right, everybody, now that we're back at the library, let's get drawing our floor plan. Remember, our scale is 1 inch equals 1 foot. So if our cabin is 8 feet by 8 feet, we're going to draw an 8-inch square. Let's get started. Okay, these are my walls. Now I'm going to put in the door. The door was about a foot off, so we're going to go in an inch, and then our door was about a foot and a half wide, so we're going to make it about an inch and a half, and the door sign is just like how it opens. Next, we have our countertop, and that was about 12 to 16 inches, so we're going to make it about an inch and a quarter. and it was pretty darn long, about half the length of the interior. So we're going to make it 4 inches long. Next, let's draw our windows. Remember, we had 3 and they were about 1.5 feet wide. Can't forget our stairwell going up to the top. That was probably 2 feet wide. So we're going to make sure that it's 2 inches wide here on our floor plan. And it went all the way up right behind the bar. And last but not least, remember we had our big wood stove in the corner to heat our whole entire cabin. So there we go. There's our floor plan for the first story. Now let's go on to the second one. Remember, it's also going to have the same exact width as the one below it, but the difference on our second story is we're going to have our small hole for our stairwell that came up. And then we had 2 smaller windows right in the middle in order to let light in upstairs. As you can see, they're smaller than our windows downstairs. And so there's your floor plan. Our first floor and our second floor. Don't forget to label your floor plan with your scale and what levels, and go out and have some fun and draw your favorite floor plan of your house, your shed, anything that interests you. Have fun, guys.
Hey guys, this is Seldovia Jones. I'm here with my buddy Slim.
Hey guys!
And today we are super excited to dig into ancient architecture.
Whoa! Well, I know I'm an archaeologist, but I don't know what architecture is.
Oh, you don't know what architecture is? That's okay.
No.
I'm happy to explain. Architecture is the process and product of designing and constructing buildings and structures. The old and ancient structures around the globe symbolize the architectural ingenuity of our ancestors. It's truly mind-blowing to think about the tools and materials that they used to construct these amazing wonders.
Like, what sort of wonders are we talking here?
Why don't we quickly take a tour of the world and find out?
Oh, whoa! Seldovia, I'm going to stop you right there. My bones are tired of flying all over the world all the time.
Well, you know what? That's okay, because I did bring with me something that we can use instead of taking a plane and flying all over the world. It just gets a little exhausting. So we can use my magical monocular.
Ooh!
I also like to call it the super duper pooper spyglass.
Why is it so super duper?
Well, if you touch it, Slim, you'll find out.
All right.
Now we're on the super duper pooper spyglass or magical monocular game show.
This is awesome.
Well, because of this, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. With each question, you're only going to have a few seconds to answer it, and we're going to move on. Are you ready?
All right. Hit me with your best shot.
All right. Question number 1. What is the name of this ancient architectural wonder located in China and is perhaps the greatest architectural feat in history? The construction of this structure began as early as the 7th century BC and was used to protect the borders of the country. It took hundreds of years to complete this 21,000-kilometer wall. What is it called?
Since I'm a skeleton, I'm going to go with the Great Barrier Reef.
I'm sorry. The answer we were looking for is the Great Wall of China. Question number 2.
Here we go.
No list of ancient architecture would be complete without mentioning the famous pyramids. The oldest pyramid is estimated to have been built around the year 2630 BC. Still considered one of the 7 wonders of the world, these pyramids were built, like the Great Wall of China, with enormous slave labor workforce, but it still remains a mystery as to how exactly these gigantic structures were built. What country are the pyramids in?
Well, that's a hard one, but since I'm a skeleton, I'm going to say Las Vegas.
Las Vegas? Las Vegas isn't even a country, Slim.
Are you sure?
The correct answer was Egypt.
Ah, shoot.
Question number 3.
I got it this time.
What is the name of this amphitheater built in Rome under the Flavian emperors? It seated 50,000 spectators while they watched hand-to-hand combat between gladiators, or men versus animals, or reenactments of naval conquests. What is the name of this building?
Oh, I know this one. That's easy. Since I'm a skeleton, I'm going to say Millennium Square.
Millennium Square?
Yeah,
That's in
right here.
Kenai, Alaska.
Exactly.
No, we were looking for the Roman Colosseum.
Ah, shoot.
And our final question. Known as the Treasury of Petra, this amazing architectural achievement was carved out of stone. The ornate detail makes this structure truly unique. It is believed that Petra was originally built as a crypt, but there are many theories about its uses. What does a crypt hold?
Well, since I'm a skeleton.
That's it. That's the correct answer.
That is?
Skeletons. We also would have accepted sarcophagi, coffins, or religious relics.
Woo!
Tell him what he's won, Eugene.
Yeah.
For participating in today's game show, you're going to receive a magical monocular to color or decorate. And that goes for you kids at home also. Stop in and mention today's show, and we have a magical monocular for you too, while supplies last.
The magical monocular is not capable of actual magical travel. If you wish to travel, please use a normal traveling method such as walking, biking, or using a vehicle such as a car, plane, or train. Thank you.
Hi, Eugene. What's going on?
No, not much. I was just wondering where that treasure chest is. I heard there's a treasure chest in every episode of the Junior Explorers Club.
Oh, that's right. It should be coming up next. But before we get to it, maybe we should tell people why it's so important.
Well, you know what? The treasure chest opens to reveal special letters. And those letters, when combined with the other episodes, will reveal the secret message. Now, in the final episode, which is episode 9, then all you kiddos at home can send those messages, either email them to the Kenai Community Library, or you can call the Kenai Community Library, or you can stop in at the Kenai Community Library and just let us know the secret message. And then you'll be entered to win some cool prizes.
That's right. But what if they haven't taken the code yet before? Can they get to a past episode?
Great question. Great question, Beatrice. Yes. The answer is yes. Just watch the old episodes on our YouTube channel. Type in Kenai Community Library on YouTube, or watch us on the Facebook.
Well, that sounds like a ton of fun. Well, looks like it's coming this way.
Oh, it is. But before it does,
Oh, yeah?
I just wanted to remind people about the magical monocular you can pick up. Stop in at the library while supplies last and pick up your magical monocular.
Sounds sweet.
Bye, guys.
Bye.